Welcome into a special edition of the Ultimate Cavaliers Show. Mikey McNuggets here, as always, joined by two friends, one old, one new. I got Spencer Davies, who covers the Cavs. Anytime the Cavs are out, by the way, Spencer's going to be there. It doesn't matter if they're making pizza, if they're practicing jump shots, or if they're in the community, Spencer will be there. And then I got my new friend, Ty Neal, here, who's one of the head trainers at the Run the Show facility out in Twinsburg. And we have Ty on because we've been working with one of the Cavs' most intriguing players this summer. First off, before we dive into Nae'Qwan Tomlin and his impact this season, Ty, how'd you get connected with Naquon in the first place?
Yeah, good question. So, we've been training in this area, and his agent, Aaron Turner with Bears Basketball, reached out to us earlier in the summer. And as he kind of started bringing some of his clients into town for off-season training and everything like that, obviously Naquon was one of them. Following Summer League, he's back in town for 3 or 4 weeks. So, yeah, we had the opportunity to work with him and be around him, and just an awesome experience, awesome guy. It makes a lot of sense why he's had success here in the last 18 months, and just fully expect him to continue that.
Spence, you were down in Florida with the Cavs for training camp, as you can see in his decked out. Clearly, I went to Cavs training camp because I'm going to wear the material and make sure everyone knows I went down to Florida to cover the Cavs, as you should have, Spence. It's a great logo, too, by the way. Shout out to the Cavs for coming up with that. But, Spence, what'd you kind of take away from Naquon and his performance with the Cavs down at training camp, and how he's fitting in now with some of the bigger name players on the team, which he's going to get a chance to play with this year?
Like he belongs. It's honestly just about the ball handling that I think has to really come up. But the strength is there, the toughness is there. I think that Harlem background really comes into play when you're on the court for sure. He can shoot the heck out of the three, and that continued from what he did at Summer League. He was the talk of the town in Sin City. Really got a lot of people's attention out in Vegas. So he's on the come-up. He's not there yet. He's only been playing 5-6 years of basketball. It's really impressive that you can go from community college to Kansas State and then to the Cavs in almost a full-time role. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Naquon. The athleticism's off the chart. He can rebound. Got to pump the brakes on the fouling a little bit. Took full advantage of that out in Summer League for sure. And we've seen this preseason. He's already gotten into some foul trouble. But I'm really curious to see what he looks like next to the guys that can play and teammates who are up to his speed. I feel like that's really going to help him out. His
game's so unconventional. It's unique. Like, he plays at his own pace. He pulls out moves that you don't see from a lot of other players, whether it's the deceleration step. And Ty, from a trainer's standpoint, I'm curious, because of his unconventional basketball background, as Spence mentioned, he didn't play high school basketball. He grew up playing at Rucker Park, which is the pinnacle of street ball. Ends up at community college, Kansas State, undrafted, works his way through. When you get a player like that, is there anything that may tick you off to saying he doesn't have the traditional basketball background, or do you see it as a positive because he has so much to learn still?
Yeah, no, it's obviously it's nice as a coach when you get kind of a finished product, especially when you're in traditional coaching and you're trying to win games, right? But as a development person, we love getting guys that are, somewhat unknown, and you're still able to kind of mold them into what they need to be or what they want to be. So, again, just like you all have said, he's super focused. He's tough, right? He's fearless, and he's just willing to do whatever it takes. So I think that's why, again, you've seen him just take huge strides here in the last 18 months, whether it was last year playing in the G League, really playing well in Summer League, and then even in the preseason here, you've seen him have some success but that's just a testament to he's just so focused and he's so willing to work, and he's a fearless dude. Yeah.
What do you see as Naquan's ceiling? I know you've only worked with him for a short amount of time. You said a couple of weeks, but knowing where he's at, how much more room for growth is there within Naquan's game?
Yeah, I think he has a high ceiling. I think he's got the frame to be an NBA wing. Obviously, the athleticism's there, and the intangibles are there, which, a lot of times is the difference maker, right? And he's willing to do it. And so, I don't see a reason why, he can't become an NBA, full-time rotation guy where he's really, either coming off the bench and really impacting winning, or, even a starting wing at some point. I don't see why he can't accomplish that.
Spence, the Cavs have been looking for those 6'8" small forwards for a while now. They made the trade for DeAndre Hunter, and Naquan's not at DeAndre's level yet, but when you were down in Florida, what were the Cavs kind of working on with Naquan to help him fit into whatever their future plans are?
Post-practice, he was shooting with Eli Kelly Abrams, obviously the coach of the Charge, someone that you played with, obviously, at Emerson College. I think just the outside shooting is what they're focusing on right now. A couple rebounding drills, contesting with the stick as every trainer does. You know, getting in there, shooting those little float shots, you know, those intermediate shots that are crucial this day and age, the way you can attack off of closeouts and really create your own shot in that way. So those types of things right now. But again, I think the focus should be on making sure that you're guarding hard, but you're not fouling. That's the biggest thing for me and Naquon right now. Otherwise, I feel like he's on a really solid trajectory.
Yeah, if you foul too much, you're not going to be able to play. And Ty, I'm curious, do you guys work on defensive stuff in your facility too, or is it all offensive creation?
Yeah, sure. We certainly incorporate, defensive concepts in our training. Obviously, I think, a majority of it, you're focused on building skill and playing with the ball, or obviously shooting, everything like that. But certainly incorporate it. Obviously, it's a big part of the game. Truthfully, the best way to get better playing defense is playing defense. It's one-on-one. It's, even – and Spence, you've seen it with our training. It's just live things and playing the game. So while we do incorporate technique and things like that, the best way to get better at guarding is guarding and playing one-on-one and three-man actions, short-sided games, things like that, just like with offense. So.
And to that point, I wanted to just add, like, when you have someone similar size, when you have pros in town, it just makes iron sharpen iron at that point. And that's what's nice about what they do is they bring in pros to do this against each other like they would in a game setting, which is so much different than just doing it against nobody, 1-on-0. So it's really impressive.
We'll get one last question on Naquon, then we'll kind of pivot over to the training, the styles you guys use over at Run the Show. But, Ty, when you look at Naquon, and you know what the Cavs currently have on their roster, do you see a role for Naquon in terms of the overall structure of where he could fit in with his unique skill set, complementing the guys like Darius, Donovan, Evan? Like, do you see his skill set complementing those guys?
100%. And, the name of the game in pro sports is being available, right, is being versatile. And, we've seen it the last couple of years with the Cavs and injuries, right? You go through those stretches in the dog days of the season where, hey, guys are banged up, right? They got to, take 4 weeks off. And that's where a guy like Naquan comes in because he is so versatile, right? And he can guard multiple positions. He can make open shots. He can, grab a rebound and push up and initiate offense. So I think that's his highest value is just his versatility, and he's willing to do that, where I think a lot of guys you see, sometimes they're hesitant to just plug and play wherever it may be because that's not my position, right? But that's the beauty of Naquan is he's versatile, he's willing to do it, and, again, I think that's just why he's going to be so valuable in the NBA.
Same question to you, Spence. Do you see Naquan carving out a role for himself?
It's going to be tough just because of how many bodies they have right now, but the name of the game is opportunity in the NBA. It's a long season. Injuries do unfortunately happen. You've got to be ready when your name's called. Stay ready so you don't got to get ready. If he can shoot the ball the way he did in Summer League, if he could continue to develop the way that he has been over the last year and a half, I think that he does have a chance to be there. I don't think he's quite there yet, but it's a moldable piece of clay, right? And
Absolutely.
He's got the exact type of body frame you want. He's got the attitude that you want, and that's half the battle.
We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're talking about some certain training methods, let's say,
Yeah, absolutely.
that the Cavs are using, that Ty's also using, and we're taking a break for O'Malley's Chocolates, guys. This is a new sponsor in the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, one that I am thrilled that is on board with us. The holidays are right around the corner, and nothing says celebration like the perfect sweet treat, but let's be real, finding that go-to gift or special indulgence for yourself can be overwhelming between the generic options and the mass-produced candy that just doesn't hit the same. It's easy to settle for less when all you want is truly something special. That's where Malley's Chocolates come in. Cleveland's favorite chocolatier since 1935. This year, they're celebrating 90 years of making Northeast Ohio's sweetest moments even sweeter. Their selection is incredible, from the chocolate-covered pretzels to the Buckeyes. By the way, guys, they're the best Buckeyes in Ohio. I swear by it. I would not lie to you. I'm a chocolate peanut butter connoisseur. These are the top notch. They also have Billy Bob's and Malley's. You can even shop online and have it delivered right to your door. Celebrate 90 years of Cleveland's sweetest tradition with Malley's Chocolates. Visit one of their 18 Northeast Ohio locations or shop online at malleys.com. That's MALLEYS.com. Taste the tradition, taste Malley's. All right, guys, the Cavs have implemented this entire CLA approach to their player development, to their training, to their practice. The Athletic wrote a big article on it featuring a lot of what Kenny Atkinson had to say and why he decided to embrace and embody that approach. They hired Alex Sarama to be their head of player development. He's kind of one of the forefathers, wrote a whole book on CLA, which means, by the way, constraint-led approach. No more spot-up shooting. Everything's decision-making. Everything's game speed. And Ty, I'm curious, as someone who runs their own practice and training facility, how much of the CLA approach do you guys use in your own training?
Well, we certainly believe in it. We embrace it as well. I think it's needed, right? And it's something that I think we've always done to some extent. But obviously it's such a popular thing, and it's been successful as of late because of, a lot of it having to do with Alex and the Cavs and their historic offensive season. And so it's just this idea of, basically random training versus block training, right? And organized chaos, right? Because that's what basketball is. That's what, you get into it. You can say, oh, we're going to do this and pick and roll coverage, or we're going to run this play and have this spacing and this continuity. But at the end of the day, it comes down to being reactive, right? And making the right decision when that chaos occurs. So yeah, we're in our facility and in our company, we have players of all ages and ability levels. So certainly there's modifications to it, but something we believe in, something we think is really valuable in just helping players grow.
And is this something that you could implement for all ages? I know at Run the Show, I'm not sure how, and tell us a little about the Run the Show facility, but I'm not sure how young you guys start taking on clients, but is this something you may be using with middle schoolers as well as guys who are currently playing in the league?
Absolutely. I think a great way to put it is just, everything should be somewhat random, so to speak, as opposed to block training, unless you're learning a new skill, right? So obviously if you have a young player that you're really trying to implement proper footwork with, I believe, hey, there needs to be some drilling where, hey, you're just getting the footwork down and drilling it and repping it. But certainly, at a certain point, yeah, even at those ages, there needs to be some sort of modified randomness, random training that falls under the CLA category at all ages. Even if it's, hey, if my hands are down, shoot it. If my hands go up, drive around me. So you just incorporate that style of learning at a young age is important, right?
Spence, when you look at how the Cavs have gone through warm-ups in their one preseason game, and I know what you were down in Florida, you got to witness a lot of this up close and personal, it looks like organized chaos, but it's clearly organized. They have a method to the madness, even if it looks like everyone's running in circles, crossing each other's paths all the time. Do you believe that this CLA approach the Cavs have taken is going to pay dividends for them later in the year?
Most definitely, and I think it's because they've really had the ability to adapt and change, and Kenny talked about that. Remember we were watching Luke Travers shooting threes with glasses on, and we didn't see any of that last year, but it's something that Alex Sarama put in, and it's basically like they take a shot and then it goes black, and then they're telling them, hey, this is swish, hey, it missed right, hey, it missed left, like these innovative different types of ways to engage athletes, to get them to grow and really challenge them, I think is why the Cavs are where they are. And Kenny and his staff, they don't cut corners. They make sure that they're putting in the work to get these guys better. And I think that those guys buy into it. And that's why we saw what we saw last year. But they're also willing to change. If something worked last year, it might not work this year. So let's try something else. And I think that that's why they are where they are.
So some of these methods are good enough for the Cavs. They should be good enough for you if you're trying to improve your own game. And that's where kind of Run the Show comes in. Ty, do you guys take all clients? Do you guys are selective in who you take on? How does that whole situation work?
Yeah, good question. So, we have two facilities right now. We operate in Western Pennsylvania. Our first facility opened almost 2.5 years ago now. It's in Cranberry Township, just outside of Pittsburgh. And then this past June, we opened our second facility here in Northeast Ohio in Twinsburg. And it's a membership model training facility. Basically, we're offering, the same detailed and hyper-focused player development that you would get if you're playing in college and you have a player development coach, and we're super focused on your individual game. We have players of all ages and ability levels, as you know, Spence, and then we work with a lot of high-level players as well. So NBA players, college players, really good high school players. So, and yeah, it's beautiful to see the game at all those different levels.
Do you have anyone else on the Cavs who comes and works out over there?
Good question. Trying to remember. This summer, no. This summer we did not. We did work with JT Thor, who was at former Cav, and he was here for about a month with us. Again, through his agent, based out of Cleveland. So, but other than those two, not this summer.
But there have been, and I only know because Spence has told me some of the names that he's. And by the way, you got to find a better rebounder than Spence. I love Spence, but. We could do better than getting Spence in a rebound for some of these guys. They're trying to
set
check them one-on-one. But I know Trey Mann's a guy that you guys have worked. There's been a number of NBA players that come to your facility, which has to kind of improve the overall cachet of it in the training community.
Certainly, yeah. No, and again, super grateful for the opportunity through Aaron Turner and his agency, just trusting us and sending us a lot of his guys. But yeah, it certainly helps us. People see us working with players as good as these guys are, and it just builds trust in other people and say, hey, if those guys run the show, then, hey, I want to send my son to them. And I think also, too, they see the product. They see the results, and so that certainly helps us a ton.
Got one more
I was going to say, if it's any, consolation, like my brother started out with him. Okay, this is how we kind of connected. I met him when he was coaching with the Charge, right? I was down to watch Dylan Windler on his rehab assignment, and he was coaching. So I actually interviewed him first before we actually became friends. Through that, built that relationship. He ended up seeing that my brother was playing in middle school and high school, ended up getting him with him. And now my brother, who is at Capital University, he'll be a sophomore. He'll actually be in town playing Cleveland State on November 6th, so it'll be downtown Cleveland. I will be there.
Nice.
But he's been working with him for 4, 5, 6 years, and he's got him guarding those guys. So if you want to talk about developing people of different levels, imagine being a D3 player guarding someone like Trey Mann, or guarding someone like Nae'Qwan Tomlin, or trying to go against them and better your off-the-dribble game or your jump shot. Like, that is priceless. You cannot do that anywhere else.
No, that's the dream. Like, you want to get a chance to see how good you are, you try to go up against the best. Ty will get you out of here on this, and Spence, appreciate you coming in too, but he just mentioned you coach with the Charge. You have a background. Obviously, they've changed over staffs a couple times, and you're doing your own personal training thing now, but what was that experience like coaching at a professional level?
It was everything. So, my dad was a Division III college head coach for 34 years, and so I grew up in the gym, right? I'm serious, but kind of jokingly say it's the only thing I'm good at, only thing I know how to do, and got right into coaching myself, was on staff at the University of Akron for 3 years, was lucky enough to get an opportunity in the Cavs organization and spent 6 full years there. G League assistant, started out as an intern, had to fill in as the interim head coach a few times. That's how I met Spence, and was interviewing me after the game. But just that experience was everything to me in terms of, you talk about player development. This was coaching development. So just everything I was able to pick up from all the great coaches I got to be around, all the great players that I learned from. And that's when my 6 years with the Cavs organization was just really nurturing to me, and everything just started to click. It's the highest level of basketball, not only for the players, but also for the coaches. So just to be around that was everything for my knowledge and what I'm doing now.
And Mike, you spent some time with Team USA too. If you look at his header, he's got Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr right there. It's pretty crazy, small world, right?
It's amazing how basketball works. Ty, tell people if they want to check out Run the Show, where they can find you, socials, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Run the Show. Like I said, our facility is in Twinsburg, Ohio, right off Darrow Road, and our socials are we're on Instagram. runtheshow.us is our Instagram. Our website is runtheshow.us. So you can get on there and fill out an inquiry, reach out to us. But yeah, Run the Show. Hey, if you're looking to get better, come see us. We love to work with you.
Awesome. That is Spencer Davies, Ty Neal, and a reminder before we go that FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, guys. And right now, FanDuel customers can get an incredible deal if you use the UCSS promo code. Go to FanDuel.com/UCSS. If you're a new customer and you place a $5 bet, your first $5 bet wins. You get $300 to use in bonus bets all across the app. So make sure you take advantage of that terrific offer. Next time we do an Ultimate Cav show, guys, we have real basketball to talk about. The summer is over, games are here, and we can't wait. Spence, Ty, appreciate you guys coming in, and we'll see you in about 2 hours on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Peace.